Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description.
Beautiful.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
I spooked you last time.
No, not after the Halloween episode. We can't be spooked again.
Hello and welcome to Dead End. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And today we have 2 new episodes of Pretty Little Liars.
A double Mona episode.
From season 3, episodes 14 and 15.
14 and 15.
Yeah, you get a Mona mania.
I said that really cut. Yes, 14 and 15. Yeah. Our BFF is back. She's back in school. She's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
She
well adjusted.
Exactly. And now she's going to show everybody who she truly is.
She's coming for Spencer.
Yes. Mona versus Spencer is underutilized, much like another pairing this week, Caleb and Aria. But I'm excited for Mona Spencer.
Showdown?
Yeah, showdown. I mean, the quiz off was already great, but I just have to say, the show is probably the most fun. I'm having the most fun with the show that we've had. So
yes.
This is tremendous.
Stop thinking about the plot. You can't. So every scene from the Halloween episode onward is basically another loose thread. Don't pull. You will lose the whole garment. The seams, the hem will come undone. The whole dress is falling apart.
So unfortunately, we, and I'm complicit in this, have set up the show in a way where I can't completely write everything off.
No. I'm just saying, when you're making your theories,
Uh-huh.
I like that you're complicit in this. When you're making your theories, don't think too hard. Relax a little. Let it go.
I can't.
The overthinking is not going to get you anywhere. The thinking really isn't going to get you anywhere anymore. Just take some random concepts, like maybe like think about like random character, like set up like a Mad Libs, like random character, random event, and like throw darts, and you might get close to the plot.
So these episodes especially, I was going to save this to get later, but made me understand what it's like to be the people that are following along, because I don't do
in the
this
trenches,
in the trenches, creating theories, like following along with threads. Like I don't do that with any show. And because we have Theory Corner on this, I have to pay attention and craft things. So then, yeah, I can.
You really screwed yourself.
Exactly. If it was more one a week, I can see how this would drive me wild. And like picking up on all the threads. And so when I was putting things together in my head this week, it's just like, oh, good God, this is exactly what it is. And I'm not even like as deep as like other people go that would do like wilder jobs. So unfortunately, I don't get past. But I'm
just telling you, when you like relax your mind when you're coming up with your theories, because the harder you think, the less you're gonna get.
Get it. You know,
at this point in the show, if you guessed who the A is in this section, I would, and the how, you know what I mean? Like if you got even close to the plot, I would be shocked.
So
I would fall out of my chair.
That was going to be my follow-up is if part of it is so much fun as we're moving at a pace now that's very fast in terms of showing at least like who some of the people behind some of the machinations are in the background. We're getting a lot of glimpses into that, even if we don't understand their reasonings and individual scenes. And so I think it's very fun to have, because everybody has to wear black hoodies. That's like the garment. You have a bunch of people running in black hoodies, and even people running in black hoodies against each other just around the town. But it's moving at such a fast pace that I'm wondering if we're going to run out of runway. And it can't keep up this pace at a sustainable level is my fear.
Oh no, trust me. They literally, I don't know if they were doing hardcore drugs, if it was like a little like smoking pot, coming up with ideas, if they just like everyone read like a different source material and came in with their favorite plot point and then wrote it into the episode. Like, I don't know what the writer's room looked like for this, but what I can tell you is they never run out of ideas. And are all the ideas good? No, most of them are bad.
I think that's mostly what I mean by sustainable, is like how much fun can it continue to be?
I think as long as you let yourself have the fun, it's fun. I think when you're really like, when the first time I watched the show, when I was like really trying to figure out who A was, anytime I was given like a thread that like wasn't applicable or like didn't apply to the main plot even.
Yeah.
Because what this show does, which novels and like mystery books and like well-crafted short form, either like mystery movies or shows, don't really have the luxury of doing, is creating so many, not even red herrings, but I don't know, like minor B plots that that don't at all relate to the main story. And when you read a book, you don't get that. Like everything relates in some way, shape, or form eventually.
Right.
Even if it's just like a growing, but like there are plot points that we've already witnessed and that we will continue to witness that like you're never going to find out.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Like I know in Theory Corner, I can probably get like at possible close to throwing in a character, but I would never understand the reasoning because we still have another season and a half of reveals and things to get through.
Yes, that's what I think. You could guess the character like at a certain point, you know what I mean? Like it'd be easy to guess. I mean, it would, the person would be on a list, you know what I mean? But I don't think you could generate the why.
Yeah, I doubt I could.
I don't think most people could generate the why.
The why.
But
because they hadn't generated the why.
Yeah, that's also the thing.
At least like
we're gonna get major plot holes coming soon in the next couple seasons where you're gonna look back and go, oh, and not just like, why does Allison wear a yellow top only? You know, it's like real plot holes, not like continuity errors because the girls grew up because they
and they have to kind of like do weirdly backfill stuff, and then they're still doing like, oh, and here's this other scene that happened to happen 2 days before, or like in the 6 hours before this happened. Yeah. Like, I mean, this episode, again, we're getting more stuff from that night because what was this character doing that night? It's like, oh, well, Byron was apparently busy.
But the characters still look close enough in age right now.
Yeah.
They're going to do flashbacks for the whole series, maybe. And so you get to a point where you're like, you've got this girl who was 12, who is now like 20, doing a flashback to being 14.
Oh, my God.
And all the other girls, I mean, they've changed so much already. You can even just look at them facially because they were in that early 20s phase where you lose your cheeks.
Yeah.
They're all losing their cheeks.
Right, yeah. Other than Aria at the moment. Aria still hasn't, but like...
Yes.
Yeah, they're starting to get older. Well, but with that, should we get started? Episode 61, Season 3, Episode 14, She's Better Now. Hooded figure skateboards in downtown Rosewood. I immediately said, go, Toby, go! And then, very funny on this reveal, we see Hannah sleeping in her bed as someone leans over her. She jumps awake and sees that it's Mona. Mona says she just got released and that her parents are making her go to school and she's afraid since everyone knows what I did. Hannah says, my friends and I won't forgive you. And Mona says, I had a breakdown, like pretty much like, can't you let it go? Hannah's granny then knocks on the door, but Hannah covers for Mona being in a room. The skateboarder continues to ride down the street, and then a car starts behind them and starts to chase them. The skateboarder notices and starts trying to go faster. The car almost T-bones another car in an intersection, chasing him. The skateboarder hits a curb and runs away, and the car comes to a halt on the lawn. I think it's in front of the church, and we see that Toby is wearing a hood, driving the car. Emily gets a text from Hannah saying Mona's back. We see a ladder get put up to her window and she gets freaked out. Then Wayne comes in saying, oh, don't worry, they're just adding alarms to all the windows. Mrs. Reynolds also called their house. So they're installing an alarm system on the entire house. And Mrs. Reynolds called their house saying she's organizing a community meeting to like go after the police because of, Garrett Garrett dying and police culpability of thinking he was guilty. Wayne agrees that she's right to go after him. Emily doesn't like it and still believes that Garrett is guilty.
Who's Eric?
No, Prince Eric. Emily is going to go on a team.
Don't be surprised when he shows up.
Favorite character. That's when Emily loses her voice for a season.
She goes, Daddy, I love him. And you're like, that's a plot twist.
Emily's gonna go on a team fundraising run, but it's just a school fundraising run that we find out later. I thought it was a team thing. And then Wayne stops her and says, your mother and I aren't comfortable with you being out after dark, so you have to come right home after school. Aria and Spencer are out for coffee, freaking out over Mona being released. Spencer wonders if Mona has connections to NAT, and Aria says she was way too dorky at the time to be involved. Spencer says maybe she was peeping on the NAT club. Who watches The Watchmen? Spencer asks Aria if she asked him. Spencer asks Aria if she asked Byron about Allie. Aria gets mad and defensive and leaves. Hannah comes downstairs and sees that her granny had brought in a basket of muffins that was on the front door. It was dropped off by someone. For the person who left a note put M, and Hannah's upset by this. Granny asks her about Mona and tells her a story about Cousin Heshi and all the wild shit he did. And when he went into the mental hospital and then came out, he was fine. And she says, what's done is done, and urges Hannah to reconcile with Mona. Emily discusses being under house arrest with Spencer and Aria as Hannah comes over. They discuss Mona, and Emily says maybe we should all be her friend, and wonders aloud about Byron. Aria gets mad and she's like, oh, you're all talking about my dad behind my back. She walks away as Mona walks over to the school. All the students look at Mona weirdly, and she smiles at Aria and says hello. Aria gives her the most disgusted look back and walks up the stairs into the school. And the other three friends look across the way at Mona. Emily catches up to Aria in the hall and tries to apologize, and Aria is short with her, but also says that yes, the thing about my dad is obviously bugging me, and I can't look at my dad or my boyfriend without feeling horrible. They walk into class and then see that Meredith is the replacement teacher. Aria's no good, very bad day. Mona stares at Hannah in class and then at Aria, who's texting. Meredith calls Aria out on texting and takes her phone. Then the class ends and Meredith asks Aria to stay behind. The other friends all stay behind to support her. Meredith then addresses them all and says, I have a job to do, and if you want to graduate, so do you. She's like, I saw what you were texting. You're here to discuss American history, not mine. Hannah catches up to Mona. Mona opens up her locker to find a brain stabbed through the middle and attached to her locker door with a note that says, takes one mad cow to know another. Mona takes the brain out as everyone gawks at her. She literally just pulls it out with the knife on the end and walks over to the trash can as everyone films her. We see Lucas amongst the crowd of people staring, and then Jason at the end of the hall with his arms crossed watching. She throws away the brain and walks over to Lucas and whispers something in his ear. She walks away and the crowd disperses. Anna walks over to Lucas and asks what she said, and Lucas walks away freaked out, but he has a noticeable limp. Emily, Aria, and Spencer gather in the bathroom, and Aria confirms the brain was stolen from the biolab. Emily says people will think it was us, but Spencer says we were disposed by Meredith, so we couldn't have done it. They talk about feeling sorry for Meredith, but Spencer says for Mona, but Spencer says she's done way worse to us. Mona then enters as the three friends look at her. Emily says, you don't think that we did that thing, did you? And Mona's like, why would you? When I helped you? And Emily's confused, and Mona says, well, I helped you catch the freak that killed your girlfriend. I know I have to earn your trust, but I'm better now. Goodbye. When Mona drops into matter of fact, and I'm going to say some heinous shit. Hannah walks over to Caleb, and he's like, are you okay with us people in public seeing us? And she's like, we have to face it, we're not flying under the radar. And obviously the writers are like, well, okay, we're done with this. Throw it in the trash. They wonder,
we've made out in a supply closet and we're good to go.
It's so hard keeping them apart. It's not worth it. Goodbye.
it really isn't worth keeping them apart because they just
No.
have such a funny chemistry, and you need Caleb for so many plot points.
Right. I was looking up this on the computer.
No one else can use Google.
No. Have you heard? He said, here's the problem. You're all using Bing.
I don't think Bing existed then, did it?
I think it did.
Bing's been around for that long?
I'm pretty sure. I think I remember. This would have been 2013 because this was January. This is after the break. Hannah asked Caleb to follow up with Lucas and if he injured his leg on Halloween. She's like, Aria stabbed someone when she was in the box, and I want to know if it's Lucas, and Caleb agrees.
Bing was launched in June of 2009.
There you go. You
to replace Live Search.
Live Search? I don't even remember that. Well, Bing, you're not great.
I do remember using Yahoo a lot as a kid.
Yahoo Search, yeah.
Or Ask Jeeves.
I didn't use Ask Jeeves. Only for novelty did I use Ask Jeeves, but I used Yahoo when I was like there for playing like Go or, yeah. What a weeb I was. Emily talks to her dad on the phone and talks him down for her phone being off during class. And it's like, I can't constantly be ready to like answer your calls. Like I have to go to school. Emily sees Mona talk to the janitor, and she recognizes him as the concierge from the Lost Woods Resort.
And thank God they give us that cutscene, because I would have never put this together.
No, It's like, he looks kind of familiar, I guess. Harold is his name. Spencer and Toby...
A white man?
Yeah, we all look alike. You were like, Brenton?
No, he was too tall.
Right. Oh, that doesn't work out. Spencer and Toby have lunch and discuss Mona. Spencer wonders... See, it's a good thing I sit for all these. Spencer wonders why she didn't hear from Toby last night. And he's like, I fell asleep early. Another really fun thing that like the audience knows about Toby and nobody else does.
That he goes to bed early?
Yep. And nothing else.
That's right, huh? There's no secrets with Toby.
No, he's not keeping any secrets.
He just goes night-night.
Yeah, and just has late night meetings with his boss.
Well, and he did almost accidentally hit Lucas, but like, we all have accidents from time to time.
Sometimes we all just want to run over a skateboarder. Spencer asks if Jenna transferred schools. So Jenna transferred schools because after Garrett, she was worried she was next. She also confirms that Jason was shot with a gun and the police couldn't find the gun. Not Jason. Garrett was shot with a gun. Jason's alive.
But he might have been shot. Sorry, we'll get to that later.
Spencer sees Mona talk to Jason and get a hug and yells about like, hey, now she's cozying up to him. Hannah and Emily investigate the school to look for Harold, the concierge. They hear music. They're like downstairs, like beneath the school, like in... I don't know, the basement of the school almost. They hear music and see he's in the back and working in his office. And they see the baby mask from the Halloween costume up on a shelf and a bag that includes the Black Swan drawing mock-up in it. And they're like, what is he doing with Mona's stuff? They talk too loudly and then have to hide around the corner while he closes the door to his office. Fitz gives Aria a necklace and she gets spooked by like how expensive it is. Aria doesn't want to do... want to do
it's like a keepsake of his. He says it's his lucky necklace. Like that he always wears it when he runs races or something.
Got it. And so she's like, I don't need it.
She's like, what if I lose it? Like, I don't want to lose your lucky necklace kind of thing.
Okay. I missed that. Thank you.
I was like, I don't think it looked very expensive. Then again, I wasn't raised in the Fitz household.
Right. I'm sure, everything there. Well, he's salt of the earth Fitz. He's talking about unemployment money. Aria doesn't want to do the race today, and Fitz says you have to. It's all good, and that he helped fundraise it pretty much. Aria gets a text and lies to Fitz that it's from her mom. It's actually from Hannah, catching her up on Harold and asks to meet at the brew. Aria lies again to Fitz and says she's going to meet her mom and leaves. Aria steps outside the apartment and sees a gift basket for a newborn boy. The note says, like babies, lies grow bigger. Then they start talking. When will you? Sometimes when A is really petty, it's really fun. Spencer and Toby are on a run, and they finish their run, and then Toby immediately takes his shirt off. Spencer sees Jason come back with a box full of stuff in his trunk. Spencer asks about Mona, talking to him as Toby walks over and like crosses his arm, and Jason looks at him. Jason seems put off by the line of questioning by Spencer of like whether like he actually trusts Mona. Spencer assures Jason that Toby can overhear this. Spencer says people used to think negative things, or Jason says people used to think negative things about me, like, but thanks for the heads up, and then Toby stares him down. Hannah assures Aria that she didn't tell Mona about Fitz's kid. Emily also says that Mona is up to something. Hannah says, I don't know, maybe Harold took the job because they're buddies. Caleb walks over and says, Lucas wasn't being chatty, but I did find a transcript between the principal and Mona's parents. Mona's parents didn't want her coming back, but Mona begged to come back. Caleb says she's back to take care of unfinished business. Hannah says, like, wait, let's hold on. And Aria says she's not going to let Fitz learn about the kid, but like, I'm not going to let Fitz learn about the kid because of A. Hannah pushes her to just tell Fitz the truth and stares at Caleb across the way for an example of someone who grew up without their father. Spencer and Toby are in the jacuzzi. They kiss, but Spencer is like, just kind of seems off, doesn't want to make out. Toby asks what she's thinking about, but Spencer is doesn't want to talk pretty much, and she wonders why Jason doesn't like get it about Mona. We get a shot from the bushes watching them, and Spencer hears a noise and calls out if someone's there. Toby watches Spencer and tells her to relax. There's another rustling from the bushes, and Spencer moves to go inside. Aria looks at the necklace Fitz gave her as Byron enters her room. He asks how school was, and Aria's like, oh, did you talk to Meredith? Byron says, sounds like you handled it like an adult. And Meredith said, you and your friends were all very nice. Aria asks if Byron liked Allison. He's like, oh, I like all of your friends. Like, why would you ask such a thing? Aria says mom had issues with her. She thought like she was like, I forget what she actually said, but she had issues with her. Byron says, oh, most of that just comes from being at an awkward age. Aria asks if he spent any time alone with her, and Byron's like, no, why would I have? He's like, you must really miss her. And she says yes. He leaves, and Aria lays back down. And we see Byron like step back and like look at Aria and then move on.
Cue a season of Byron just standing in creepy spots.
Really funny. We see a video of Mona talking about being picked on when she was young. We then see that Hannah and her granny are watching the video. Hannah says it's getting a bunch of likes online, and Granny's like, I think she's trying too hard and she roasts Mona. Hannah, as in like, wait, I thought you wanted me to make up with her. It's like, nah, after seeing that.
She's campaigning.
Yeah. Hannah unpauses the video as Granny leaves, but sees Lucas knock at her back door. She invites him in, and Lucas hands her an envelope to give to Caleb. It's the last of the money he owes him. Lucas says the leg was from an accident skateboarding and that it's hard to explain. Hannah asks why Lucas was talking with Mona and why they seem so close and why she's back. Lucas doesn't want to talk at first, but says it isn't Mona's first day back. She's been sneaking out without the doctor's permission. Hannah presses him, but he says sorry is the best I can do. Hannah's like, okay, I understand. I miss you. And Lucas is like, I miss you too, and leaves, and Hannah goes back to watching the video. Hannah, so understanding. All right, you can't tell me. That's fine. That's fine.
Keep your secret.
The scene cuts to students watching the video. It's a neat cut, to like watching the video on their phone, and we now see that we're at the school fundraiser run. We see Caleb and Aria working a booth. They both complain about Mona's comeback. They then see her being escorted around and meeting with people happily, and they both look disgusted.
I love them together. I always forget that they have scenes together, and then every time they do, I'm like, this duo should be doing more.
When you need people to be upset and just like,
and like both like willing to say something, but also like both will hold their tongue. You know, like it's like,
right. No, they're the two that talk the most shit.
Yeah, I want to be in their gossip circle.
Yeah.
Caleb, Aria. I mean, like, Hannah's just fun to have around, but like, right. I need the gossip. Like,
exactly. Like, Caleb feels more guarded around Hannah, at least talking openly about Mona because she knows, like, they were friends.
Yeah.
But like with Aria, you know, she no love lost.
No, she walked right past her.
Hannah and Granny come to the run and say hi to Spencer. Caleb and Aria agree that Mona is messed up and see her like talking to more people. Aria then asks Caleb, and it's like, hey, have you ever thought about what your life would have been like if your dad was around when, like, say, like, the random age of 6 or 7? Caleb's like, I used to look for him everywhere when I was young, like, just out at the store and things like that, but I stopped when I was 13. I just got tired of looking for him. I'm fine with how things worked out, but sometimes I do wish I had my dad around. The students warm up for the 10K fundraiser. Hannah's granny pushes in and sings the national anthem. Spencer, Aria, and Hannah talk about sneaking into the school because it's unlocked during the run and going to Harold's office. Hannah says she thinks Mona was on the Halloween train. Granny keeps singing, and Spencer asks why her grandma's singing, and Hannah's like, just because she can. Like, shut up, Spencer. And while she's singing, the teacher just fires the starting gun.
Well, she goes into the second verse.
Right. It's just so funny that Hannah's just like, she can. Like, just let my grandma do her thing.
She's
so
singing,
supportive.
She's singing because she wants to.
Uh-huh. Wayne says goodbye to Emily, who's stuck at home because, like, you know, her parents are keeping her on house arrest. And Wayne's jacket is on her bed, and Emily switches phones with her dad, who had left it in his jacket pocket. He then comes back and, like, grabs his jacket and leaves. She then unlocks the alarm on the house and goes to sneak out the window. Emily is trying to pick the lock as to Harold's office as the 3 friends show up at school and wonder how she got out. Spencer is then like, Emily, you're doing it all wrong. And Locke picks it. They go into the office and find the bag is missing. Spencer goes to look at the notebook that they had seen earlier. Oh, I see. Spencer goes to look at a notebook that's set over there. It's Allison's notebook that she had noticed from A's lair earlier, and it looks like Harold was writing a long message to Mona, and he thought it was her diary. Mona places medals on a table as Meredith walks out and places some on an adjacent table, and she stares her down. The friends discuss the diary, and Spencer says it was the same one she saw in A's lair. They see a passage about Byron. We then get a Tom Riddle-esque flashback. Or Chamber of Secrets. Allie is in Byron's office saying he's a department chair. Byron's like, I'm not having this convo again with you.
You announced that like it was the news.
I'm Brenton Pyle. Good night.
Sorry, carry on. I was trying not to laugh.
You reported the news. That's a side tangent. We won't get on that. Allie says, okay, we don't have to talk about this again, but it'll cost you. Byron's like, you're out of luck. The person that this involved with is out of my life now. Allison says, well, what would happen if Mrs. Montgomery found out? Also, what would happen if the dean heard from a student after saying that they were freaked out after you wiped your feet on them? And Byron says, if you make that call, you'll be sorry. Allie says, I'll start with your wife. And she calls the Montgomery house phone. Byron then grabs her arm and takes the phone. He says, I can't get you that kind of money again. Ella will notice it's missing. Allie says, I'll be out of town at my nana's, but I'll be back after the weekend. So see you then. Back in the present. Aria shell-shocked.
I think she said after Labor Day weekend. So she'll be gone for I don't remember how long she was gone, but it was the summer.
Oh, I see. Got it. Aria's shell-shocked and they hear a noise. Aria rips out the page that they just reviewed, or the pages that they just reviewed, and they leave the notebook. They leave the office and run straight into Harold. He asks what they're doing down here, and Spencer tries to cover. Harold grabs the pages out of Aria's hand. Toby then comes downstairs and asks what's going on. Harold locks eyes with him, and Aria grabs the pages. The 5 leave Harold downstairs with Toby staring him down on the way out. They all walk outside and ask how Toby knew they were there, and he's like, I saw you go inside after the race. And then suddenly they see a tent and hear a scream, and a tent is caught on fire, like a storage place. Emily sits in her room as Wayne talks to someone on the phone, saying he didn't get the message because he had actually accidentally swapped phones with his daughter. And after he gets off the phone, he tells her it was the principal saying that Meredith got hurt by that stunt. Wayne says, let's stop fighting, and you should tell me why you're not letting me in. He says, I may not know what you're going through, but I know what it's like to lose people, as the camera is slowly zooming in on him, and we see that he's wearing an army shirt. Wonder what it's saying. He says, I don't want to be your gatekeeper. I want to be your dad, and then leaves. Hannah watches the Mona video in her robe at night, and Granny says, I think you've seen enough of her for one day. Hannah then shuts her laptop and goes to bed. Aria stuffs paper under her pillow as Byron comes in. Byron took Meredith home from the hospital and she had her bandages and painkillers. He invited her to stay at their home, but she didn't want to come over. Byron shows Aria a note that Meredith had received that said, can you grab 2 swag bags for the staff leaving early? Thanks. It was on her clipboard, sending her over to the storage shed. It's like, if it was your friends, and I know that, what they're capable of, and that Meredith told me about, how that first day of class went. Byron then yells at her, and Aria says, no, it wasn't us. Byron says, speak up while you can. These kinds of secrets can come back to haunt us. And Aria says, what about yours? Byron asks what that means, and Aria says nothing. Close my door. The scene cuts to Jason looking at a bug zapper on his porch. I wonder who are the bugs getting fried. Spencer walks up, and there's been a lot of fun camera shots in this. Spencer walks up, and Jason says, I heard I missed some fireworks at the finish line. Spencer says, Mona walked away without a scratch. Spencer says, I don't want to have to say this to you again. And Jason says, I hear you this time. Spencer walks away and then gets a call from Aria. Aria says, A set us up and sent Meredith over to that shed. Jason walks over and watches Spencer leave. Spencer asks if Aria wants to stay over at her place, and Aria says, no, Byron would never, my dad would never let that happen. We then see Byron listening at her closed door. Jason sits on his porch as Mona comes out with gauze to cover his wound in his side. It's like this big hole. Interesting. A hooded figure loosens the wheel on a bike and runs away. A random person comes by and rides away on their bike, and we see the hooded figure hiding around the corner as we hear the person crash. The end. I thought that's the funniest A scene, because it's just ooh, I'm gonna prank on this random person. I mean, we find out its significance the next episode, but it's just so funny. Just this random person, okay, goodbye.
Just getting taken out.
Okay.
You know who's on the skateboard, so we won't do that one. Why are Emily's parents against her going outside at all?
Yeah. No, this is classic. They're very they're very controlling.
Why would they not just go on the run with her?
Right, no, you gotta shut it down. They can't control what the other people are gonna do outside, so we need you back here until we feel comfortable to let you go outside again, pretty much.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's overly controlling, and that's exactly like Pam. Now, Wayne has been a little bit more understanding, and Wayne has gone from being a good father to a, if not up on the list of bad fathers on the show, but at least a bad parent in terms of how to parent his daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this is not the way.
Mm-mm. Why would Aria trust her dad now? At the beginning when she's trying to defend him. Why?
She doesn't want to have to deal with it. Aria's oh my God, I have too much going on right now. This can't be real. And we heard it from an untrustworthy source.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't really she's yes, it really bugs me. But until she sees the paper, then she's fine, okay, I was an idiot for not thinking this. I don't want to have to deal with this though. And I like it that at least in the next episode too, Aria's now cold as ice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fuck with me.
Why is everyone so chill with Mona being back? The adults, she hit Hannah with a car.
Yes, especially you mentioned this last night too, watching her grandma be well, maybe you should let bygones be bygones. And then the grandma, only after seeing Mona being fake online,
mm-hmm.
is burn her.
Mm-hmm.
It's she ran over your daughter.
Yep, she hit your granddaughter with a car.
Right, and at least terrorized all their friends.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, they
blackmailed her mother.
Yes. Oh, right. Ashley would at least still believe that all those videos came from Mona,
mm-hmm.
even if she already, and then she also knows about that Mona dropped off that stuff. So there's extra things that Ashley should believe, but Ashley's not here this week. It's just Granny, and Granny is very forgiving because cousin Heshy grabbed a fistful of nails, but then went and got cured. But yeah, there's way too much lax going on. I understand maybe students when it's oh, okay, I talked to her and she's actually pretty nice, but And like, she didn't do anything to me, and maybe she's feeling better now. But like the parents, I don't get it. Because if there's one thing about parents know how to hold a grudge.
To get a job at Rosewood High, do you have to date in Montgomery or be in Montgomery?
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be part of it. You have to at least touch that like line somehow.
You have to like hooked up with one of them.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, whether you're an
Jason, Ezra.
Wait, Jason.
He kisses Aria.
Oh, right. But he was employed beforehand.
Yeah, but he had intentions.
That's true. Intentions to court their daughter.
What did Mona?
What did Jason do?
What did Mona say to Lucas in that scene with the brain?
Like, I don't really have a good conception of that one. Other than it's just like, maybe if you did this, I'm going to get you for this, like something like that. Or it's just like, make it seem like I said something to you important. Just to throw things off.
I'm whispering to you.
Yeah. Or probably the more likely one is like telling him where to meet her somewhere after school so she can like use him to go do some sort of
to film her video. Do you think it was to film her video? Oh, Jason helped her with that, but
yeah. Oh yeah, Jason is the one that helps her with that.
I think because everything internet access, she has to have a staff supervisor.
Or at least like to go after whoever did that to her locker.
Who did that to her locker?
I mean, after seeing the explosion last episode, well, no, that seems too petty. That seems like a Noel move. Doesn't that seem like Noel? That seems like Noel. I was about to be like Lucas, but I'm like, no, Lucas isn't like bullying. We'll get to that. But that seems like Noel. Has Noel written all over it. Of I'm gonna bully someone. Isn't this gonna be funny? Ha ha ha. Because the note is like completely off base, like messed up. So yeah, that has the juvenile quality of a con.
Okay.
Not James, just Noel.
Who left the baby gift for Aria and Ezra? Is that an A move?
Yeah, it could be an A move. So which A team are we talking about here? That seems like it's a Mona move. I could see that team doing it. Toby dropping off the box of thing. Actually, it would probably just get delivered. And Mona's already going around delivering baskets anyway. And I like when I forget who specifically in the episode asked. It's like, was it signed from M or A?
I think Aria asked. Or no, Hannah. I don't remember. Emily. Who knows?
Who can say? But that seems like Mona potentially if still bucking them.
Why did Mona lie about wanting to come back to school?
Because she's on her goodwill tour. She's on her forgiveness tour. I want everybody to like me.
She needs to be pitied.
Exactly. That's exactly the angle she's playing, and I think it's really fun. For all of our protagonists to be like have their hair pulled out over this, and we have already a good vision into knowing that she's like at least partially full of shit. We don't have to as the audience like step into their shoes and start trying to figure out what if she is like this persona that she's putting on at school. Like we already know that she's been sneaking out of Radley, doing other stuff. So like we know that she's not completely helpless as she's like portraying herself as, which makes it fun because then it's more about guessing where's the sincerity lie. And I do think there is part of it's the sincere of because we are dealing with teens in school. And I think she does want to like be friends with people and like have forgiveness and like get along with people and like get along with Hannah. But she is not this like, I'm so sorry. Like she's not sorry.
No, and she's not helpless.
No, And I think that's what's fun with next episode of Spencer too. But I think it's a really fun dynamic to follow Mona because we know she's got like teeth. She's not helpless at all.
Who was outside of Spencer's house while her and Toby were in the hot tub?
Right, because otherwise it'd be Toby.
Toby's always in the bushes. That boy lives in the bushes.
Yes. It's really funny. I could see it being like, it seems like Toby, they really make Toby in all his scenes this episode, or in this week, I should say, like slightly, like he looks like he's slightly knowing, like, oh, like ignore that person in the bush almost. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh no, don't they make him in every scene where something looks nefarious that he's like semi in on it. And then when talking to other people, he's like, don't,
Pouting.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I would think it'd be part of their team, potentially like Lucas, or Mona. Less likely Lucas, I guess, because it seems like, you know, the deal's gone bad. Lucas wanted out, but he doesn't get out. He doesn't have the option of getting out. Oh my God, there's a tremendous scene in Andor this last week where someone is like has a conversation with someone about getting out, and it's incredible. But you know, no one is trying to run over someone else with a car.
Why is Byron? Why?
No, but fair. You know, they're white privilege and white male privilege specifically.
He is related to Rob Lowe. No, but thinking about Byron and him lying about like knowing and liking Allie. Why did he lie about liking her? He could have just been like, you know what? She wasn't my favorite.
Right. He's not good at that.
He is not a pretty little good liar.
No, he's not good at that at all. That's why I always think he's such a sniveling worm, because he's always caught on the back foot. It's so funny because he always tries to like assert authority, especially over women. It's always over women.
He's a misogynist.
Exactly, but it's always feckless. Like he can't. That's why he has to grab Allison's arm, and he does it to Meredith's arm next week because he can't control them. And so he lashes out physically. Abusive. Exactly. But in terms of like conversationally, he can't even. I mean, he couldn't combat the teenager that visited his office and blackmailed him twice. And he can't lie to his daughter.
Will Aria ever tell Ezra about his kid? It's like the worst plot line.
The kid's gonna be in high school, but
hopefully Aria's out.
Right, exactly. Yeah, hopefully Aria's still in high school. I was thinking out of the relationship. That's so much better. But it's just kind of like, okay, well, I don't really care about this. Maggie who?
I don't care about Maggie.
So it seems like she's actually sick, but I thought with everything they're setting up next episode where Ari's like, oh, I'm feeling queasy. It's like, oh my God, are they setting up like that she's pregnant? Like, is it going to be like two potential Fitzes running around, and Aria has to figure out if she wants to bring another Fitz into the world? We don't need that.
We don't have that.
No. I was worried. And then it's just like, oh, she has the flu, which is a really funny like thread to like run through an episode. But characters getting sick in real time. But it's very funny. It's like 24. I don't know if anybody gets like sick. Like it's just like, oh, I'm starting to come down with a cold, like fever. But yeah, I really hope she tells him soon, because like, gotta do something else. Then we'll introduce another ex of Fitz's next season, and then another one after that, and another one after that. We're not getting enough of Mama Fitz.
Not
at all.
The Fitz fam, really.
I know. I don't care about Wes. Gotta be honest. Seems nice. But like Mama Fitz is fun. She was like, you know, the show needs its Emily Gilmore.
Oh, or is Lucille Bluth? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
She's more of a Lucille than an Emily.
Yes, for sure.
So poor Wayne, his plot points are dad and military. Just thought we'd bring that up.
That's what we do every time Wayne enters the scene. We stand up and we
take off your hat.
It's really funny how much they play that up of just, well, I know what it's like losing people.
Yeah, and I was like,
I was in the shit, Emily.
It's so like, it seems so surface level of like an actual thing. Like I'm like, why not have like a better plot point for this man, or like at least make it like seem like it's not just a device to push his background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no examples. There's no anything.
He is support the troops personified.
Like
the honorable soldier.
So vague.
It's he loves his family. They have a house, and God damn it, he loves his daughter.
Harold's
and
lair,
his country, of course,
aka his office. Why does it have Allie's diary? Like, why do they have Allie's diary?
It's all of Mona's collections of things. So he's like connected to Mona, and I think when Mona
was working at the place, so did he take all the stuff out of the room?
I think so. That would make sense. Like, I hadn't floated that before. When you say that, that makes sense. I hadn't thought about that because the room had to be emptied, and so who else? Like, you hit the panic button, and then that last minute pull the ripcord is have Harold go put it in the storage shed. And so I think when Mona's talks next episode about him being like following her and stuff, like, I don't think there's not a connection there of like him like potentially being like not enamored, but like at least like friendly with Mona.
Byron went so quickly from you were texting in class to you set Meredith on fire. And I just want to know.
I know what your friends are capable of.
What gateway drug is texting? Because I've never once been like, you know what, this person can text, and therefore they're capable of lighting a woman on fire.
It's so funny. The jump, but he's because Aria hit a nerve, so he's still thinking about like. He still has that secret about like Allison extorting him for money. So then it's just like, well, if her and her friends are extorting people for money, then they could commit arson against someone. And you know, there's probably a little bit part of him that's blaming his like daughter and friends for some of the shenanigans they've ended up in. Shenanigans being terms for like life-threatening situations. And he's just like, I know like what your friends are like capable of, and he's just like projecting Allison all over them.
Who did plant the bomb?
Oh, we do find that out at next episode, and it is very funny.
What's Jason involved in? What's Jason's vibe?
Yeah, I had written Jason off last week as just being uninvolved in things. But
he's involved.
He is involved. And if we're going with two-team theory, he's against the other team, baby.
He's on Team Mona?
He's on Team Mona.
Yeah, I mean, she's fixing the hole in his side. Where do you think the hole in his side came from?
I know. I think we're trying to... It's a deep hole. That's a gross wound. So, like, I think we're meant to think that it's stabbing. But I don't think it is. I think it's meant to be a red herring about what actually happened.
Okay.
Could it have been a stabbing and Garrett trying to protect himself, potentially? I don't think... It was from Aria, is what I'm trying to say.
You don't think it's a screwdriver hole?
At least not from Aria. It could still be a screwdriver hole because it was in the box with Garrett. So did Garrett try and protect himself before someone shot him? Because Jason doesn't seem to like Garrett.
No.
So did Garrett shoot him? Or not, opposite.
Oh, we find this out in the next one, too, because I couldn't remember when we found out of why A or someone in the hoodie fucked with a kid's bike. But we know why.
It's really funny.
I was like, what was the point of this? I don't remember.
It becomes significant next week. So, at least in my reading, it's like, well, Toby's really trying to fix you to try and get onto academic decathlon. Or the opposite. Mona's like, well, we need a shakeup on academic decathlon, and I need to go after Spencer.
Or maybe she had Lucas do it.
That's true.
And maybe that's why Toby tried to hit him. Because he didn't want Spencer to lose her spot on the academic decathlon.
Well, but Spencer, because of this injury, Spencer is trying to become captain.
She was going to anyway. She was running against the guy. but the
Oh, she was running. Oh, okay. I
that's
misread
why he
that.
got. So she was running against the guy.
I thought the election happened after the guy got deposed.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was that she was running against him, but then she was running unopposed.
So yeah. So then my theory could still work for that if for Mona. Either way, I think we're done with this episode.
Yeah.
Should we take a brief pause?
Yes.
All right. Episode 62, season 3, episode 15, Mona Mania. Aria watches a black and white movie. The movie is Night Must Fall, starring David Montgomery. It is about a widower who lets her nurses, her maids, like fiance into the house and around the house, and the fiance charms her and gets in her good graces, and then even the widower's niece starts to like him, but then they start to wonder if he's involved.
I thought widower was male.
Oh, widow.
Right?
You're right. Widower is male. Elderly widow. And she starts wondering if he has to do with the disappearances of women around town. So, who is the, this works both ways. And this is literally the reason why I was like, oh, now I understand the fan theorists, because this can literally work towards Byron being, Montgomery, David Montgomery. Oh, look at that. And also it's about letting someone into your house who may be doing horrible things. So like, is that also Meredith? Fun times. Okay. And then Ari's watching the movie, and then Byron walks in to talk about like the Meredith getting hurt in the explosion. He's like, I would like to talk about it. She's like, we already did. You talked, and then, it was actually just mainly you talking, and I had to listen. He says, Meredith got a call from the principal confirming who was involved. I know you're mad I blamed you, and I'm sorry. Aria then turns up the volume louder, and Byron says, I've seen this one. The guy keeps a severed head in the hat box and walks away. Emily Spencer.
Which, like, spoilers.
Come on, dude. Emily, Spencer, and Hannah sneak into the school to go back to Harold's office at night. They discuss Garrett, and Spencer says he was killed because he was was talking. Makes me believe he didn't do it. They enter the office and are trying to find a light when suddenly a hooded figure stands up, and they yell at Hannah to try and stop them, but the figure runs by, and they ask if Hannah saw anything. She's like, no. They turn on the office light and find all of Harold's things gone. They see Allie's diary on the desk, and Spencer flips through a bunch of blank pages and finds a note from A that says, keep moving, ladies. Nothing to see here. Spencer brings coffee to the friends the next day, and Aria says she couldn't sleep because of her dad and Fitz. They then discuss stress dreams, and Spencer talks about how she had one about academic decathlon. Emily asks if she's still gunning for captain, and Spencer says the captain got injured in a bike accident. So, oh yeah, so you were right.
I'm running unopposed.
So now I'm running unopposed. Mona walks over and is like, I'm losing sleep too, and asks if you remember the creepy Harold guy. He was stalking her and bribed the real custodian for the job. She told him it was inappropriate that he was here, but he didn't leave her alone, so her parents went to the school. Mona says he must have rigged the explosive, but now they can't find him. Too bad. She says, just thought you all should know, and leaves. The friends don't believe her, and Spencer asks Hannah for advice on Mona's involvement. Hannah says she thinks there's more to the story. Hannah goes and talks to Lucas. She says, I know it was you in the basement. I won't tell anyone why you were there. Won't tell anyone about it, but why were you there? What were you looking for? Lucas says we can't be seen together, and Hannah asks by who, and Lucas says, who do you think? I know everyone thinks she's cured now, and Hannah says, I talked to her, but I don't trust her. Lucas says, you think you can stop her? I couldn't. Hannah says, that was you that almost blew up a teacher? Lucas says, I just wanted to scare her. Hannah says, get a restraining order, a can of mace. Let me help you. Lucas says, you can't. I have to do something. As long as Mona is back, we're not safe. Emily stops Paige at school and to talk to her. Paige says, I have to get straight home. My parents are being cautious and just like you. Oh, darn. I'm grounded also. And if I'm late, they get mad. Emily says, same here. It's awful. Paige says, things have happened to you, to us. How do you not think about it? Emily says, I try not to. But, hey, the swim team is having a party, in the woods. Let's go. And we'll be back in time for curfew. Paige is like, okay, I guess I'm in. Aria visits Ella and hands her the newspapers. She sees a story on the Reynolds family suing the police. Ella is mad that the town is forgetting that a girl lost her life, and Aria agrees and says, we still don't know who did it. I thought they were referring to Maya, and it's like, you mean Allison?
Yeah, he's like, we know who killed Maya, and I was like, baby boy, what is the first episode about? Roll it back.
Aria asks what Ella and Byron did the night Allison went missing. Ella says we were at a fancy cocktail party for your father's department. Ella's like, I still feel so bad for like sleeping in, not being there for you. We completely missed your first call. And Aria's like, it's okay. Ella says they left the party early and Ella had taken a bottle to drink home with them. And when she drinks and falls asleep, she's pretty much dead to the world. And that's when she mentions sleeping through the first call. We then cut away to Meredith walking down the hall and looking in, but she steps away. Spencer and the academic decathlon team talk about Brad messing up his trachea. Mona is announced as the new member of the team, and the secretary, a new character, Andrew, says, "Oh, you two have a history, huh? Rough." Mona runs in late. The leader of the Andrew then says Spencer and Mona are running for team captain. And Spencer asks, why? Why are you running? And Mona says, I played dumb for a while, but now I can show off who I really am. Andrew then holds a vote with the team, and there's a tie between them for who's going to be captain. And Mona says, it's a quiz-off. They agree to it tomorrow. Andrew stops Spencer on her way out, saying that was unexpected, but you can kick her butt tomorrow. Spencer leaves and gets a text from A that says, quit while you're ahead, bitch. Spencer sees Mona at the vending machine and without her phone in her hand, and Mona waves. The friends have lunch, and Spencer says, I won't give into Mona terrorizing. Hannah says, if Mona's back to her old tricks, maybe we should stay away from her. Emily and Spencer agree that sabotaging for a position sounds like Allison. Mona walks over and says, thanks for being such a good sport, Spencer. Spencer says, I got your text yesterday. Mona says, I can't have a cell phone as part of my release. The vice principal lets me use the computer lab limitedly, and that's how I posted the video, and Jason is helping out with, other, related, internet things. Hannah says, we know you snuck out of Radley, why should we believe you? Mona says, the doctor said it would be hard for people, when I am coming back, and it would be hard for them to understand, excuse me. And the Spencers wonder if that is actually all part of the act. Meredith then walks into Ella's classroom to talk. She says, I saw you and Aria talking. Was it about this? And shows off her bandage. I won't be following up on this. And Ella says, because they found out who did it. Meredith says, I'm sorry I jumped the gun, but I hope we're okay, like us two. And Ella's like, well, I'm seeing someone else, and Byron has moved on, so I'm sure we can, be, civil. Aria, Emily, and Hannah talk about Jason having an alibi and helping Mona on the internet. Aria mentions that she's been feeling queasy lately. Well, which we find out was flu. Aria wonders if Byron wanted Ella to sleep through the night Allison went missing. Hannah wonders if Byron and Meredith were still seeing each other at the time, and Aria's like, no, they weren't together. A little hasty. Aria and Hannah disagree over the sequence of events for the night that was written on the note. And so Aria goes to grab the diary entries from her boot, but finds them gone. The friends dig through her closet, looking for shoes, and Byron steps in, saying, oh, you're making quite a mess. Remember when Mike would raid your Halloween candy and you would stash it in your snow boots? I thought that was clever, and walks away. And Aria shuts the door and says he knows. Why is he waging psychological warfare against his daughter? I know the answer, but I mean, I just have to throw out the question.
Mm-hmm. Why is he waging psychological warfare against his daughter?
Control. Mm-hmm. Spencer studies with Toby. For the decathlon quiz off. He offers to come with her, but she's like, it's okay, I got this. You just go and have that meeting, late night meeting with your boss. Toby says, this isn't about looking good on college transcripts anymore, is it? Spencer says, Mona is baiting me. There's lots of other clubs for her to join. Toby then gets a call and is like, oh, it's my boss. I'm going to go leave. And he's talks on the phone. He's like, yes, I'm leaving right now, and looks suspicious.
I'll be right there.
I'll be right there.
He would have made a great Edward.
Yes. Again,
I support that. We could redo Twilight with Troyan and Keegan Allen. You could do it now, even.
Yeah. I mean, they'd be fine. You can have like mid-30-year-olds playing high schoolers.
They're immortal. Like, who cares?
Well, except for Bella. Hey, Luca. Where you been, Luca? All right. Can't do it.
Brenton's only seen through New Moon.
That scene is a high point, even if the rest of the movie is a stinker.
Hey, Bella, where have you been, Loca? Yeah, and when Jacob still has his long hair.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that movie's just boring.
The second one?
Yeah. It's just boring. It's like they took out all the fun direction of the first one.
The first one was filmed on a handy cam.
Yeah, it's wild. Like there's like all kinds of like crazy shots and like cameras spinning around them and getting in people's faces, like shaky cam. It makes it exciting.
We'll have to watch the clips and then,
yeah,
do a little bonus content on your takes on Twilight.
Totally. The cinematography is like a huge part of what makes that first movie like exciting.
And the filter that turns everything blue.
Yeah, we love it. Hannah enters Lucas's room, which is full of comics and Funko Pops and models and looks like an upscale nerd model homeroom. It's like, well, this is where your young son could live. Lucas says that he's leaving Rosewood High for good. Mona's been blackmailing me since the masquerade ball, and I got a message then to go distract Jenna there, but then I got another message when she was in Radley, and I picked up an envelope from Jason and brought it to her. Hannah doesn't pick up on the Jason thing. Lucas told Mona that he was out and I was done. And he's like, but then she tried to run me over. This SUV swerved at me out of nowhere and I didn't see the driver, but it had to be her. Hannah asked if Mona's connected to anybody. And he's like, I didn't mean anyone else, just her. I was just a middleman. Hannah says, what does she have on you? Lucas says, test answers to every course at school. And I was selling it to anyone with cash. I shut everything down at the after the SUV, and I just need to disappear now.
He's got a cigar in his mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't know what kind of a mess you're getting into, your dame. Aria gets a message on her laptop. It's from Fitz saying hi. Aria hears voices arguing, and so she goes, looks out her door, and sees it's Meredith and Byron. Meredith is angry and tries to walk away, but Byron grabs her arm, her burnt arm, and she cries out in pain. She walks away, and Aria asks what's going on. He's like, everything is fine, and shuts the door, which is what you do when everything is fine.
Obviously.
Paige and Emily are out driving into the middle of nowhere for the swim party in the woods. Paige is super nervous, and Emily asks if she's okay. She's like, yeah, I'm fine, and stops the car and has like a panic attack. And is like, I can't go. I can't do this. I can't do anything since Halloween. I don't have a restriction like to stay at home. I only leave my house to go to school. I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't tell you because you like strong women, right? All I can think about is when the next bad thing is going to happen. Emily says, let's go for a walk and get some air. I do like Paige at least being an audience stand-in here of like, how do you do this? Spencer sees Mona talking with the team, and Mona's like, I have a get well soon card for Brad. Spencer, if you want to sign it, because there's no such thing as too much encouragement when you're on the mend. The quiz-off then begins. Spencer in blue, Mona in red. Spencer takes an early lead. Aria sees Meredith sitting alone at the brew, and she enters and tells Meredith she followed her and wants to know what's going on. Meredith caught Byron in Aria's room. He was rifling through papers, and he went through Meredith's purse yesterday too because he thought it was Aria's. He wouldn't tell Meredith why, and she felt like he was lying. When Byron went to drop off Mike at a friend's house, at a friend's house, Meredith found papers in his dresser and shows Aria the papers. Aria then grabs them and says, these are mine. Meredith says Byron went to visit her the night Allie disappeared. He thought she was behind it, and that she had pushed Allison to extort for more money and had destroyed his office. He left Meredith's apartment to go meet her that night. Back to the quiz-off, and it's a tight race. Paige and Emily walk in the woods and come back to Paige's car. They see she has a flat, and Paige immediately goes to change it. Emily sees that there's a big slice in it, and that someone slashed a tire. Emily sees a hooded figure run into the woods, and she goes to chase after them. You're just imagining there's leaves covering a big hole.
Right, all they really need to do to get these girls is put out one thing for them to trip.
Honestly, like a person in a hoodie running away is like putting a little piece of candy or something or bait under a box with a stick. Chase ensues in the woods, and the hooded figure gets away, and Paige pulls Emily back to the car. We see Toby is in his hoodie, hiding behind a tree. Back at the quiz off, Spencer's up by 3 points. Andrew offers up a break, and Mona's like kind of looking like, oh, I need to like go like shove off, but Spencer's like, I'm okay, and then looks at Mona, and then Mona's like, okay, and then Andrew like confirms that they both want to do this, and they both say yes. And Spencer stumble like at the end, like we get kind of a flash forward, and she's gonna like win the competition, and stumbles over the question that she had reviewed earlier with Toby. Mona then stunts on her. Byron stares at the fire, and he
in an academic decathlon setting.
Yeah,
you said she stunts on her.
Okay.
As someone who was on academic decathlon, I just want to say that
I mean, what else when she goes like by gross domestic product or like geography?
They never did it that way though. Too, you like wrote your answers down.
Well, I mean, did you ever have to have a quiz off? In the competitions,
you had to like do this. Like you ran up and I think you had to ding a bell, but I think you wrote your answers and were like projected. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
You never had to do the television one that they always show where like people ding and have to answer.
And not like that. Not like it's like Jeopardy. But
sorry.
No, I love it. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't remember much about my academic decathlon competitions except for like I was like, this is a very odd crew, and like I recognized a kid from another school because I knew him from church, and I think I freaked him out a little.
You don't talk about it.
The year was 2009, 2010, and I don't necessarily support this, but I do. My teacher did tell me, he was like, Emily, you're one of like 3 girls here. If you go talk to the boys on the other team, you stand a better chance of winning. And he wasn't wrong.
I mean,
do I think I played fair? No.
I think it's pretty great.
Yes, I actually, the only place I really lost points was in my improv speech. The man grading my speech did not like that I used some casual language.
Well, I've got some casual language for him.
That's what I said. I said, I don't care. This is simply so I can go to college. And right. I needed something for my 6th period gap in the day. And I'm not a senior and I couldn't take the time.
So this was for your college transcripts, unlike how Spencer's has morphed into this competition.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and we read East of Eden, I think. And then the history aspect was the French Revolution. So our academic decathlon sweaters had the guillotine on it.
It's actually pretty fun.
It's somewhere in my parents' house.
I think that's a great idea for a sweater.
Had like Akadeca, and it had like it had the periodic table of elements for some of the letters, and then it had like a guillotine in the middle.
And then
we didn't do any like sign book related.
In Latin was like stitched in.
Well, it would have been good. No, yeah. But I just remember thinking it was funny.
It's really good. Byron is sitting at home staring at the fire and hears the door open and calls to Aria. She enters, but with Meredith. Byron wants to talk with Meredith and says, I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to scare you. And so Aria leaves them be. At the brew, the academic decathlon team is hanging out. Aria comes up to Spencer and is like, we can shut this down if we go to a faculty advisor. But Spencer shoots it down, saying she doesn't want to win that way. Who did I say? Byron?
Aria.
I said Aria?
I think so.
I see. Andrew came up. Aria's not there.
I think so.
Hannah walks in saying, I just got your text. Are you okay? And Spencer's like, I lost. I just want to go. And Hannah says, and she's like, Hannah wonders, like, oh, like, could you not reach Toby? And Spencer's like, no, I couldn't like get a hold of him. He's still must be still at the like meeting with his boss.
His dinner with his boss.
Dinner with his boss.
It's not a meeting, it's dinner.
I keep saying a meeting. Hannah says, we'll go in 1 second. And she walks over to Mona. Hannah says, I'm on to you. Nothing's changed. You're still pushing people's buttons and manipulating, and I spent months visiting you, hoping you'd change. And I know what you're doing to Lucas, and I don't want anything to do with you.
Dress her down.
Love it. I love this. This is why we love Hannah. She just fucking like charges headfirst at things. Spencer is sad about having to do overnight competitions with Mona on the team. Hannah gets a text from A that says, cut Mona off, big mistake. You're not the only one who can slice and dice. Spencer asks if it's not Lucas, and Hannah says, it's not him. Hannah says Mona can't hide from us anymore, which also should make us wonder, is it Lucas? Spencer says, I think Mona showed me her weakness on purpose and that Mona doesn't need to hide anymore. She can take us down whenever. Paige spends the night at Emily's. Emily says, I feel like it's my fault. I told you about A. Paige says, I don't know how you do it. Emily says, mostly I get angry instead of scared anymore. We don't deserve to live like this. Emily says, you should see somebody about this though. And you should go, you should see a therapist and promise to at least think about it. And Paige promises. Aria checks her temperature, sitting in bed. Meredith comes in bringing her tea and asks if she's feeling any better. Aria thinks she has the flu. Meredith says, I don't think Byron knows we have the Pages. Aria says, I hid them. Meredith hopes that this was some horrible accident and that Byron never hurt that girl. She says he'll be gone for a few days so we can figure this out. Aria's like, well, I don't think we should have to keep this a secret between us. And Meredith says, we gotta just keep this shut down for now. Byron puts away his laptop and leaves his office, and we see a hooded figure watching him. We then see it's Mona, and she calls someone saying he's leaving. A hooded figure walks down a road, and we see a sign for a campground 3 miles away. A train sounds in the background. The hooded figure buries the Red Queen, or Queen of Hearts mask. Queen of Hearts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Phantom of the Opera mask. The end.
All right. Are you ready for it?
I am.
My phone did not recognize my face.
It does have the microphone in the way.
Where did Harold go?
I don't know.
Will we ever see Harold again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they'll bring him in for a random episode, but I don't think he's going to be important. I think it's a nice little ooh, thread. What's going on here? Spooky. Is he even alive? He's back at the Lost Woods, I guess.
Okay. Hannah and Lucas. Let's say maybe he's the one who blew up a storage locker.
I know.
He committed a felony because you know what we learned when we went to UC Santa Barbara? Lighting your furniture on fire is arson, and arson is a felony.
Mm-hmm,
they had signs up all over that told us that arson was a felony.
Yep, no burning couches.
No burning couches. So if you're thinking about burning your furniture, don't. It's a felony. At least in public. I don't know if you have a fire pit at home, you do. I guess you do what you want. Just be careful.
Yeah.
I'm really afraid of fire, so I say don't. Maybe just
that can't be good.
Call 1-800-JUNK or something.
Yeah, it can't
not
be.
Spawn.
This is what I'm about to buy.
1-800-JUNK.
Just like the A team disposes of their enemies, you can get rid of all the junk in your house.
Just like Mona disposes of bodies.
Right. When Mona was back up against the wall, she got someone to clear out her lair really fast. And 1-800-JUNK can take away your items.
Oh my God. Yeah, no. So what's one? Okay, so he blew the thing up. But two, then why is Mona blaming Harold? Do you think she thinks it's Harold?
Well, no, Mona does not think it's Harold. I don't think. I think the Harold getting out of Dodge is a good way to pin the blame on someone. And if we do think that Mona is threatening Lucas, which it sounds like she is, then that still keeps him on the hook. Even though if he did plant the bomb and was aiming at her, then that would have really implicated him. So in a sense, she's saving him so she can keep him around to do things.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how this game is being played, which I assume it is. Also, Lucas has access to explosives. Fire, red flag, red flag. Hannah's just Lucas, you didn't.
I mean, Caleb had a gun.
But there's way different to where Lucas is well, I just wanted to scare her with a pipe bomb. Put in the storage thing. What was he expecting to do?
I don't know, but where I grew up, everyone had access to fireworks. So I mean, what's the next step?
There was no fireworks.
A little extra gunpowder.
I guess so, but it seems like people. Yeah, let's be suspicious.
I know you grew up in an affluent area, honey, but back where I grew up,
Lucas is affluent.
Just teasing. Why?
You saw that room.
He's got
got so much stuff.
Got all the cool toys.
Yeah, he's got toys in cases and displays and comic books displayed all around his room.
Yeah.
As like art, as like not even artwork, as like a banner.
Okay. Unlike your childhood room that just has the theme of sports.
Yeah. What was there was a TikTok about that was just like talking about interior design. It's like people think that millennial design was like this, but it was actually like, and one of those was like,
yes, if you ever, which you my dear listeners, you'll probably never have the privilege of going into Brenton's childhood bedroom, and I hope you
get
don't.
out.
People might have an issue with that, but anyway, the walls are different shades of brown, like a tan and a darker brown, and kind of like a thick pattern, I guess. And then there's like the wallpaper border of just like generic sports around the top part.
It's not even famous people. It's just like a man playing soccer,
yeah,
a man playing baseball, a man playing football, a man playing basketball.
Golf. I think golf is on there too, right? Yeah. And then there are a bunch of photos of Brenton as a youth playing sports, including one very large photo of Brenton playing lacrosse. And my personal favorite, one of Brenton at what age? Like 5, playing t-ball or baseball?
Yep.
He was on the Raptors.
Yeah. Go Raptors.
He looked exactly the same except small, and he was very serious about the sport. He looked very serious.
Yeah. Buy your tickets now to the Memorial Museum.
I did walk into his room and I was like, wow, that thing in 21 Jump Street. And it's like, oh my God, he looks like you died. I was like, that's him.
I was, celebrate my sports career.
His athletic career died in that room.
He's a
he
real.
Couldn't pick a sport.
Yeah, he was so good at all of them.
But anyway, back to our buddy Lucas. Okay, so he thought he could get out through explosives. Obviously, he can't. He does have the money to buy, and Mona's keeping him around to play with her toys and like make him go kaboom.
Or so we think.
Okay. Why is Mona fucking with Spencer via academic decathlon?
I think there is
She's
like some
fucking with Spencer publicly.
Yes. I think there is a part of like, I want to show how smart I am in general to people. So I don't think like that part where she's like, I don't want to hide who I am anymore. Like, I'm not playing the dumb Mona anymore. So like, I can like show up and be like the smartest person. But I also want people to know I'm the smartest person around here. And what better way to do that than to knock down the smartest person around Spencer?
Why is everyone like, oh, poor Mona, when like really she like tortured like a lot of people? It's very strange. I can't get past that.
Yeah, it's.
And which admin? Sorry, carry on. Go ahead.
People think like that it was. The story seems to be that she had a psychotic break, and that caused her to do this.
But she tortured them for like years.
Yeah.
At least of our lives.
Right. No, of their, I guess just a year of their life, huh? As far as we know. So yeah, it's just people who think that like she just had a break, and I don't know how close people are with the rest of the crew.
That's true.
She only tortured them, and it's just like, wow, that was weird. But then it's just like, well, she was nice to me. I don't know. Maybe people are making things up.
Which admin let Mona join the one team Spencer was on? Well, one club. Who was like, you know what? We'll approve this. She can go. And also, why do the girls not have a restraining order? Isn't Spencer's mom not doing her job as a lawyer by not having a restraining order against the person who tortured her child?
That is 100% fair. That should 100% have happened.
Should have been a plot point. Or maybe like her not getting it. But you know what I mean?
Not
like,
granted. Yeah. At least like Veronica like moving to try and like save her child. But Veronica's the ceiling fan parent.
What do you mean? She's not even there. Ceiling fan at least is in the room.
But what I was going to say, for the admin question, what kind of dirt does Mona have on the principal? Can she like leverage things? You know what I mean?
Yeah, she had access to all those computers. I remember going in there with Emily.
Yeah, and she knew about whatever they'd used to blackmail the principal on. Like, I think it was using funds for like buying furniture or something.
Yeah, or like the sports teams had to give them things so that the kids could be on the team.
They were bribing kids.
Kids were bribing. they were bribing kids.
Yeah, payola.
What happened with Byron and Meredith and Allison? And do we trust Meredith's story? Like, what do you think happened?
So, I mentioned at the beginning that it's just like, who is the like actual like stand-in for the character that David Montgomery plays? My sincere hope is that it is Byron, and that the story that Meredith is telling is true, because I think it's really compelling to have the character turn for Meredith that she's having now, which is, I am still a young person, even though I'm young, like grouped in with the adults in this, but like she's 23. Like I made a big mistake, and like this has come to haunt me in ways that like I can't fully like deal with at this time, and that I don't want to believe because I still like this person, and yet I'm in this like up and down relationship with them. But I find camaraderie in their daughter, who is actually closer to my age.
Once again, I have to sit here and wonder what is Rosewood High's hiring practice? Like, do you have to be under 30?
Yes, like they really should not be hiring fresh grads. But I find that compelling, right? That this like young person that got in over her head, and the romantic partner that she was with is like, she didn't understand what she was like fully like doing and like getting involved in, and then is involved in this person's life that's like way worse than she thinks, but isn't fully there yet. So I really sincerely hope that we don't get a turn on Meredith and she's like, well, Aria, I was planning this all along. I just don't want to entertain that, because I think it would really undercut the story that we're telling now, which I think is more compelling of the way men try to control women. And having Byron be a feckless, evil face for that is good.
I think so too.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that I am liking this turn in the Meredith saga.
Let's talk about Paige and Emily.
So here's the thing. I'm cautious about where this is going to go, but I think it's an interesting take that like they give Paige like, oh, she's the one that's actually going to, in a sense, be the audience stand-in of how you would actually react in a situation like this, where like, oh my God, like I'm scared to look around every corner because like we literally had two horrible things happen back to back. How do you live like this? Which I think is an interesting take.
Also she was kidnapped, and they kept talking about how she's like after Halloween, and I'm like, why Halloween?
Like
girly pop Halloween, sure, bad, but you know what was really bad? When that man put you in a closet.
Right. When a man literally put you as a gay woman in a closet. And then like tied you up, taped you up, and almost killed you in front of your girlfriend. Horrible.
Emily's like, my feelings died a long time ago, baby girl.
I know, I get angry. Some people, when they experience trauma, get sad. I get angry.
Angry Emily is way more fun, though.
Yes, absolutely. But so we'll see where this goes. I can see this being cumbersome.
It is sad that Paige's like, but I know you like strong women.
Right now.
I'm like, strength is asking for help. Like, that could have been a fun little plot turn there. They could have thrown, no, they didn't throw us that one.
No.
Mental health is physical health.
Yeah, and also having Paige be the, like, one most damaged by everything is like, okay.
Meanwhile, Aria was in a box with a dead body, and she's like, yeah, I think my dad might have murdered Allie.
Right. But like, we don't need to focus on me.
You know what, though? Maybe not.
Exactly. Aria's horrible day.
I just feel really, really bad about lying to my boyfriend.
I know. Exactly. It's not even the like, well, I was in a box, almost pushed over a train.
Yeah. Like, she almost died.
No, but it's like,
and she was snuggling with a dead body.
Yeah. I need to worry about Fitz Jr.
Yeah, who cares? And like, honestly, I'm like, he has a kid. That's fine. You know what?
That's his name. Who cares, Fitz?
I liked Fitz Jr. Okay.
Fitz Jr.
Hannah getting met at Mona was a great scene. You already touched on that. You liked that one a lot.
Yes. Hannah coming swing for people and diving headfirst into like going after people that wrong them. Always A+. Third act, Hannah.
Yes.
Third act, Hannah.
Mona has a phone and/or a burner, so she blatantly lied to us in this episode.
Right. So that's like part of the fun of knowing that Mona is not completely weak on things, and like, okay, when are the texts actually coming from Mona? Because a lot of them this episode really read like Mona. And so that's when Spencer's
But do you think she taught a copywriting class or something in Radley?
Copywriting,
yeah,
right?
like how to torture your girly friends.
Here's a script for the rest of my team.
Throw in a bitch. Throw in, like short, not a lot of punctuation.
Right.
Make sure you use commas though. Call off your techno boy toy, or I'll tell the police what your mom keeps in the lasagna box, or what tell the cops. I can't remember. But
yes, yeah. Either way, but yeah. So I think that's great. I like that we know that Mona's blatantly lying to them rather than us being in the dark on that.
Yeah,
I think it can be all right in things. It can be kind of annoying to me
when there's too many twists. Like, I'd rather watch the girls have to deal with the twists, and like it's kind of fun to track as the show goes on. You'll start to learn who knows who's like what secrets. Does that make sense? Like
that's fun.
They don't all always know each other's secrets, which you
Right.
know. Like, we've already had the scene where Emily accidentally tells Spencer about Hannah and Caleb getting frisky on the couch.
Oh,
but like like you get more scenes, not necessarily like that, but just scenes where you're like, oh wait, like how does this person have this information?
Right.
And like you can't assume that all four of them have the same information, and so like, can you put the puzzle together if you see it all, or like as you have the audience view, so you see the Toby and Mona scenes, like does that give you enough to put it together?
Right.
But no,
that sounds interesting. I like that.
When will we get a reveal that Toby is A to Spencer?
Yeah, I think I'll still stick with the end of the season. We'll go with that. I can also see him then milking it a little longer because it's pretty fun. Us knowing about Toby, but we'll stick with the end of the season and we'll see what comes around. But I do like us knowing about Moody Toby.
What's happening with Jason and Mona, and what was in the envelope that Lucas had
passed to him? Because it was Jason passing something to Lucas.
To Mona.
That would make me think it's the cash of whatever he was involved in. And so that would also explain why he's giving Lucas weird looks in the Halloween episode. And pretend exactly. It's actually a pretty good Jason impression.
Thank you. You'll have to watch the YouTube if you want to see my Jason look.
And you just gotta cross your arms.
Yeah. I'm not bulky enough in the arm for it though. You know, like he got arm muscles. He's like,
yeah. Right.
Looks
really
like I
good.
just got high.
I mean, yeah, a little bit column A, also like a little bit like smoldering.
That and my Toby look are exactly identical.
But I think
Toby gets a pout, actually.
Yes. Yeah, he has a pout for sure. Jason.
What, you can't focus when I'm making kissy faces at you? Huh.
But
interesting. Who has the ADHD in this relationship? Just kidding, it's me.
But I think it's the cash then that was passed between them. And so that would explain like some of the like weirdness and also what Jason's allegiance to Mona a little bit better.
Jason's allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do the pledge.
Yes. I stopped myself. Do Mona.
Okay, Wayne. Okay, are you ready to take us to your favorite corner? Theory corner.
Yes.
Don't act like you have a different corner you enjoy.
I haven't thought about what my favorite corner is. Let's step into
It's stressful.
Theory Corner. Welcome to Theory Corner. Where I do the theories and sit in what is now my favorite corner. All right, so we've got our 2A team theory. We're still going with that. And
are they working for the same MLM, or are these like two? So this is like if two
Jenna and a T Squad
Yeah. But I was just wondering, like, there's, so you don't think there's like a bigger, like, I was just wondering, like, is this like full boss babes individual running your own business? Like, you're the CEO of your own brand, boss babe vibes? Okay.
Different goals for each of them.
Okay.
I still think that the A team is out to get the NAT club for, like, reasons potentially related to Allison of getting revenge or something like that. And that is comprised of at least Mona and Toby. Of course, it's comprised of A. And so I think there is, like, that reason that Spencer's like, oh, Jenna transferred schools. That I think that is related to that, is like getting away. And so we will not focus on the NAT club today. Okay. We will instead focus on the A team. And so I do believe that Mona is controlling Lucas. And is making him do things that he doesn't want to, he wants out, right? And so he's maybe like he is doing things to, like, renege on that agreement and get away from, like, doing trips for Mona. I also think that Jason is similarly like a contractor for the team, and is, I think, controlling with, like, the cash and stuff like that. Okay. Which is potentially related to, we never got a follow-up on the body in the ice. There's literally no mention. I was going along so well with the rest of the episode, and then I get to hear and I have to reckon with the cash and it potentially being about Allison's body or things that were found in the coffin related to potentially Jason. And I get mad that I didn't come back up.
Maybe it will. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, maybe it will. Oh, good.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I guess that'd be related to the show. So there's an alternative theory that I do have, is that Lucas being, attacked by Mona is now using the A tactics to try and get after her. Okay. Which is explain things like using fire to try and attack her. I can't get over using explosives. That's, like, such a step up from just, like, random normal Lucas shenanigans. So that's another theory, is that Lucas is also a person that's trying to get back and get out of being part of that A team. And is starting to use A tactics against Mona. Not as successfully as we were seeing. But I think some of those A texts this week are coming from Mona, because it really reads like her. And I think there is some part of Mona that is sincere about coming back to school and people liking her, but she is still up to her old shit. And we know she's lying. And then the Byron, I think the Byron stuff that we're seeing now is, like, he's not going to be implicated in Allie's murder, but it is as transparent as I think it shows that it is right now, that he did go after, and, like, Allison did, like, blackmail him, but he didn't actually do anything. He may actually think that he, like, hit her or something, but it turns out he didn't actually kill her, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he may think that he did, but he didn't. Similarly to, like, how Jenna thought, like, Garrett killed her. I think is probably how that's going to go. I think Byron's a little bit too ancillary as a parent and adult to be directly involved in it that way and have it come off satisfying and related to A and the rest of the theories. So that's where at least we're sticking with now, that he's innocent of that, but is still a absolute mess of a human being.
Valid.
Yeah. So, I think that's kind of everything this week for Theory Corner. I mean, pretty brief, but I think there's some tantalizing things to think about, like Lucas finding explosives.
I love it. Sorry, I was just looking on the wiki to see if I could figure out which episode we find out, if we ever find out, who's in the body bag.
Well, we'll all find out together, won't we?
We will. Any final theories?
No, I think that's it for this week. Yeah, we don't have to quite do the expansive talk I did last time. So
I like it.
Take all that forward from last time. I don't think anything's changed in there. This is merely an addendum on top of that.
That's how theories in theory should work. But, since the show throws you
all kinds of loops, sometimes we have to build from the ground up. But not today. So thank you for stopping into Theory Corner. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Pat. Well, I have exciting news for you.
What?
In the coming week, next week, in the next episode of this, we put on the show. You will get to see a very special version of Toby.
Has it been foretold?
It has been foretold. And if you know,
I've seen the picture.
And if you know what this Toby will look like, I'm sorry, because a white man should not look like that. But it's a scene.
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it's a scene.
Especially context.
Mm-hmm. So, more to come on that soon.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to see you all back here for that next week.
Yeah. You will not be rocking that outfit, though. That's not permitted for you.
No. No wish to.
It's tragic, but mm-hmm. In the trashy way. I also did see on TikTok, someone posted a Pretty Little Liars TikTok where someone was talking about like the worst lines ever on a teen drama, and you can't learn the line yet because it's later in the show. But when we're there, I will play it for you because I was like, it might be worse than Riverdale's like the highs and lows of high school football line.
That's so good.
It might be worse, but it might not. So another thing for you to wait and see.
I love it.
As it was foretold.
More things to look forward to.
I know. I just want to give you something to look forward to as you start getting deeper and deeper in the hole.
I love it. No, I mean, we're in a great spot now.
Uh-huh. Keep that feeling close to your heart. Keep that right here.
Got it.
You keep that feeling tight to your heart.
I'll hold on to it.
Uh-huh.
And treasure it.
Uh-huh. Hold on tight.
Will do.
All right. Any final thoughts?
That's it for me. Great couple episodes. Love this.
Yeah. We got movement.
Yeah. We got Mona.
We got Mona back.
Love Mona. Mona's a great character.
Mona's a menace.
Love Mona.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we're not here doing this, we do other things, and my link tree will be linked in the description. Brenton's as well.
Yep.
And then if you want to watch this podcast, if you're listening to it, you can go to YouTube and you can go to
@dead_ends.
Thank you. And if you're watching it, but you want to listen to it in podcast form, like, maybe you're like, it's really distracting to watch Emily fidget for an hour, which is valid. You can listen to this on any major podcast player.
Mm-hmm. And you can also find any podcast updates and schedule stuff at our Twitter at deadendspcast, and send us an email to deadendspcast@gmail.com.
You're also welcome. My socials linked in my link tree. If for some reason you're like, I don't do Twitter, because I don't do Twitter, you're welcome to always reach out on any of my other platforms and be like, how do I find? Please help. And I will point you in the right direction.
Maybe I should start a co-host for this.
Oh.
We'll see.
We shall see.
Yeah. Adventure
is out there.
Adventure awaits.
Brenton has, I don't know if I've told this around the podcast. One night Brenton was sleeping and he talks in his sleep sometimes, and he rolled over and he looked at me and he goes, adventure awaits. And then he goes back to sleep. And I was like, oh.
Like, sure.
Okay, good night.
On that note, we're still here. We're going to find out everything.
Maybe you already know in your subconscious. Maybe that's what the adventure was.
We'll go back to sleep and find out. See you there.
Good night.